I am Conch Man. You may not speak if you do not have the conch. So do not speak, for I have the conch.
Kind of reminds me of Darth Maul. I wonder if that's where Lucas got the idea, or the concept artist that came up with Darth Maul. Um, Lots going on in the world today, huh? Malaysian jets being shot down. I think the now I don't want to make light of the situation because it's terrible. It was a passenger jet, and it was just carrying civilians, so on and so forth. But Putin said none of this would have happened. He's not taking blame, mind you. He said this wouldn't have happened if there had been peace in the area. Wasn't it him and his government that invaded not only Ukraine but Taunton, Massachusetts? I can't remember the name of the other place. This is crazy. This is insane. Like, this is very worrisome. Like, this could really go bad. And if it goes bad, I'm gonna go hide under my bed, I think. Um, it's one of those wait and see type things. It's going to be day to day, hour to hour to see what the hell happens from this. I know Malaysia's not happy. Um, yeah, that sucks. So we got a black Captain America, a female Thor, and a silver armored Iron Man. I want to talk briefly about comic book continuity and how there is none. Now, I heard someone explain once that there are multiple universes, like where you can write a Superman story here, write a Superman story here that has nothing to do with this one. And I understand that, and that's cool. But I hate when they try to play it off as it's canon, basically. For example, this isn't going to last. We both know that. We all know this. We know that when Wolverine dies later this year, supposedly in the comic, he's not going to be dead forever. He's a huge money maker with them. Why would you do that? Why would you be like, man, I draw, so I need my right hand to, draw. I'm going to cut my right hand off just to shock people and lose tons of money? You're out of your mind. The death of Superman. Obviously, Superman, the most iconic of all superheroes, is not going to remain dead. Like, at the time, I had only been reading comics. Well, I've been reading them my whole life, but religiously, probably 4 years at that point, and I still hadn't caught on that nobody dies in the comics. Like, it's extremely rare. I'm sure you could call me on it, and if you can, put it in the comments below, and we'll talk about it later. But how often, Batman's back gets broken, Azrael comes in and takes his place, and then screws it up, and then Bruce Wayne has to come back and rehabilitate, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what disappoints me in comics. At least with, well, I can't even say it with books, like, because I think about, all right, spoiler alert, if you've never read Dragonlance and plan to read it, I'm going to talk about a character, Raceland. You get a character like Raceland. He wants to become a god. He travels back in time, challenges Fistendantilus, and he's going to go challenge the god. He realized in his final moments as his brother's trying to save him, even there in the abyss, his brother, his twin, is trying to pull him out, be like, no, Raceland, you gotta come back with me. He realized at this final moment, he's just like, dang, he really likes me. People are good. Well, I don't know if he came to that too, but his ending was just, I felt. Like, he risked his brother's life, risked all his friends' lives, did whatever it took to become a god or fight a god so that he could take their place. Like, he made a mistake, and the only way to seal the portal back to Kryn was for him to remain behind. So he did that, and he was tortured and tortured. I guess this is a little different because he never was really technically killed. He was killed on a daily basis. Every day, Takesis would come and tear him open and eat his guts in front of him and just leave him lying there until the next day when he woke up and it all happened over and over again. Man, that's a hell. So later on in the series, he comes back. I can't remember why. Oh, the gods have fallen or they've gone off to council or something. He was able to escape the abyss. Whatever. But, like, I don't know. Like, in comics, it's constant. Like, you never see it coming. In books, it's more rare, and when it does happen, it serves a larger purpose, I think. Like, I know comics are one shot. You get anywhere from, 19 to 32 pages a month. maybe 64 if it's a special edition or something like that. But other than that, that's all you get. So I know they have to push their stories a lot faster because you can't keep an audience of people who don't remember what they just read. So they have to at least do bi-weekly in the summer, I believe it is, and monthly normally throughout the year. But there's no continuity. Like, I think of every comic I've read in my life up to the point where something tragic happened. By the time, like, Age of Apocalypse, Magneto and Charles Xavier's consciousness get pulled into this creature. Like, what a cool way it would have been to really, like TV shows. Like, I know sometimes they do it too, but, like, you really got to shock the audience. I think we're in that day and age where it's really hard to shock an audience on TV, in the movies, in comics, or anything like that. But people are still able to do it, and do it well when they do it, because it's recognizable. You know what I mean? Piece of ice right there. Sucks. So it's hard to really feel sympathy. Like, there have been moments in comics where, obviously, you know, the death of Superman, you know, it was a moving and emotional moment because, well, you never thought you'd see it in your life, and you know he's coming back, but it's still good readings. I won't say it's bad readings, but another writer comes along and goes, how am I supposed to write the Superman comic if there's no Superman? So he writes him back in. Like, sometimes it's 6 months, 9 months, a year. I guess it all depends on what they're planning on doing. But it brings me to this black Captain America and female Thor. I have no problem with a black Captain America. I have no problem with a female Thor. I just don't think it's going to last. And why waste the reader's time? I guess it's just to sell books. I mean, I just don't understand it. Like, maybe I'm old enough and gotten to the point in comic books where I know, I'm like, why am I going to keep reading these? It's the same damn story. It's like wrestling. Growing up, wrestling was, the first few years was awesome. And then you caught on to the fact that basically they just repeat the storylines over and over again. I mean, there's a twist on them, obviously, depending on what's cool in pop culture or whatever at the time. But other than that, it's the same good guy, bad guy situation. It wasn't until the 90s, I think, that they had a real shake-up in wrestling when all of a sudden people were booing the good guys, and you're like, whoa, something's changed. We've reached a new era. I'm not going to talk about wrestling, though, because that's nerdy, you nerds. I guess that's all I have to say about continuity in comic books, because, I mean, all things change and all things can go back and so on and so forth, but I would love to have a comic like, alright, here's a great example. More realistic, The Walking Dead is a perfect example of that. Like, if somebody dies in the comic, they're dead. There's no chance in hell they're coming back. Unless it's as a zombie. You just know it. Like, it's based in that reality. I guess comics, well, I guess you look at comics as, okay, well, you wouldn't have a superhero. But then again, you wouldn't have zombies either. Probably. I mean, I'm hoping we don't ever have to deal with that. Continuity. I did a little bit of marker work on this. I did the hair a little too dark, I think, on the boy. It's nowhere near done, and it's all messed up. The dog's paws are sitting on the kid's foot and stuff. As you can see below. I didn't know how else to draw it. I was like, his foot just disappears. But I lost my pretty lines in the brown kind of. I can see them, but barely. Like, if you didn't know they were there, I don't think you'd look for them. You'd be like, oh, that's a nice picture. Next. But I love those little thin lines. But I've learned through watching Will Terrell videos. I'll link him up above if I remember. 902. I'm not going to do anything crazy because that's too much work. 902. Will Terrell. I emailed him recently, said he was going to check out the videos, but I never heard back from him. So I'm assuming he didn't like them, or they were just bad. Maybe they're just bad. Am I bad? Maybe I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm bad, motherfucker. Ice. So maybe I'll do another one, and I don't know, maybe I'll just contact him again. Maybe I won't. I don't know. He seems like a cool guy. I'm not gonna bug him. He's probably a busy guy. He just moved to San Diego. Did you watch Denali? No. I did. because I had to cut it together. There's 3 videos in there. Technically there's 2, but I had to cut one. The first one was the first night I started thinking about God as being an artist, and how much it made sense with the flood, and he wiped the slate clean so he could start painting again. Then I couldn't, the take of that song in that video was so bad that I was like, I'll just record it tonight and I'll cut them together. So I finally got a copy that I was nearly 100% happy with, except I screwed up in one spot. So I had to cut the video and audio, obviously, and bring them together. So that means reducing the size of one, stretching the size of the other until you get to that sweet spot. And it only took me about 10 or 15 minutes. And I feel like at least guitar-wise and vocal-wise, it's perfect. The video itself, obviously there's a stutter or a skip. But the audio, I don't think you could tell if you had your eyes closed that there was a cut there. I think it was done pretty well. So I need a job doing that for a little while, until I can get a job doing this. I don't know how that happens, but I'm going to have to put my dog out. I can tell that she has to pee right now. So I'm going to come back and talk about my grandfather, Jack Eugene Green. And he was a Mormon. I'll tell you all about him in a few minutes. I got some funny stories about him. Thanks for always coming by. Hope you come back for the second part of this one. I'm Jason Oliveira, and I want you to not to forget... I want you to not to forget to make somebody smile tomorrow. Make yourself a better person than you were today, and let's make the world spin a little happier together. Okay, I'll be back for part 2 in just a few minutes.